What started as a simple trek up the tallest mountain in the contiguous United States turned into a deadly tragedy on Mount Whitney. Hikers were faced with life and death decisions that would ultimately lead to the deadliest accident in the mountain's history. The heart-wrenching story of survival and loss will leave you questioning if the pursuit of adventure is worth the ultimate price. Today, we'll look at the deadly mountain tragedy of Mount Whitney. Before diving into it, let's first talk about Mount Whitney. Mount Whitney is the highest peak in the contiguous United States, with an elevation of 14,505 feet. Located in the Sierra Nevada range in California, it offers breathtaking views and challenging trails for outdoor enthusiasts. The summit can be reached via a variety of routes, including the popular Whitney Point Trail, which covers 22 miles round trip and involves a strenuous ascent of over 6,100 feet. As a result of its stunning scenery and difficult terrain, the mountain has long been a favorite destination for hikers and other people who enjoy being outdoors. On the other hand, for one group of hikers, their ascent of Mount Whitney ended in a catastrophe that claimed their lives. A group of 7, led by a man named Dave Page, set out on a more technical route known as the Mountaineers Route, while the other 2 parties took a more traditional route up the mountain. However, the Mountaineers Route was still covered in snow and ice, making it more challenging than usual. On July 26, 1992, a party of 11 hikers embarked on a day expedition to climb Mount Whitney. Their goal for the day was to reach the summit. The members of the group ranged in age from 19 to 56 years old and included both seasoned hikers and those who had never been hiking before. They had done a good job of planning their trip and had adequate food, water, and gear for the ascent. However, they did not make any preparations for the unpredictability of the weather or the dangers of altitude sickness that are associated with climbing to high altitudes. The Whitney Portal serves as the beginning point for hikers who desire to ascend Mount Whitney, and that's where the group got their start. They traveled through a variety of landscapes on their way to the peak of the mountain, including forests, meadows, and rocky outcrops, as they followed the main trail that leads to the top of the mountain. The temperature was comfortable. There were no clouds in the sky, and there was a light breeze, all of which made for excellent circumstances for trekking. The weather took a turn for the worse as the group of travelers got closer to Trail Camp, a popular camping spot situated at an elevation of 12,000 feet. The light was obscured by the clouds, which also created an environment that was cool and damp. The group decided to continue their ascent despite the unexpected shift in the weather, expecting to reach the top of the mountain before the conditions became more hazardous. Some of the members of the group started to feel the effects of the increased altitude as they continued to climb higher. When the human body is forced to adapt to high elevations, where both the air pressure and the oxygen levels are lower than at sea level, a condition known as altitude sickness can develop. The symptoms of altitude sickness can range from being somewhat harmless, such as headaches and nausea, to being extremely dangerous, including disorientation, confusion, and even loss of consciousness. Several people in the group started experiencing the symptoms of altitude sickness, which included fatigue, nausea, and headaches. Despite this, they were resolute in their decision to continue the ascent in the vain hope of reaching the peak before the weather deteriorated further. During the climb, the group of 7 became separated from each other due to difficult terrain. Some members of the group reached the summit, while others turned back due to fatigue and the worsening weather conditions. However, Dave Page and 5 others became stranded on the mountain when a severe storm hit. They were forced to make a difficult choice as they neared the iconic 99 switchbacks, a part of the trail comprising steep, zigzagging switchbacks that climbed to the summit of the mountain. The weather had become much more severe, with strong gusts and heavy snowfall throughout the region. There were several people in the group who were displaying severe signs of altitude sickness, and there was a significant possibility that they might become hypothermic. In spite of all these difficulties, the group made the decision to continue onward since they were so focused on reaching their goal. The weather continued to get worse as they ascended to higher elevations. The wind kicked up, making it challenging for them to keep their footing on the slippery ground they were on. The snowstorm became more intense, resulting in decreased visibility and extremely hazardous conditions. The consequences of altitude sickness and tiredness caused some group members to fall behind the rest of the party, which had difficulty keeping up with each other. A terrible event took place just as the group was getting closer to the peak. Even though the walkers who were hit by lightning were experienced and well prepared, the mountain was still able to surprise them. The lightning strike came out of nowhere and killed one hiker without notice. The others were hurt and scared, so they had to find a place to hide and wait for help. After that, the rescue operation was a race against time. The weather made it hard for rescuers to get to the hikers who were stuck, and because they were hurt, time was important. The people who were still alive had no choice but to huddle together for warmth and support until help came. Some of the hikers got help too late, which was very sad. Even though the rescuers tried their best, 3 of the group members died because they were exposed to the weather and it got too cold. The fact that people died and the survivors were hurt so badly was a stark reminder of how dangerous climbing at high altitudes can be and how important it is to be prepared and take safety measures. The event made people talk again about how dangerous it is to climb mountains, especially at high levels. Many hikers have asked for more safety measures, such as better ways to talk to each other, more frequent weather reports, and tighter rules for climbers. Others have asked for more education and knowledge about the dangers of altitude sickness, which can happen to even the most experienced climbers. The accident has also led people to wonder how responsible the climbers were. Even though there are risks in any outdoor exercise, especially one as difficult as mountain climbing, it's up to each person to make sure they stay safe. This means having the right gear, being ready, and knowing what risks are involved in the action. Like any tragedy, this one has lessons to teach. The thing that happened on Mount Whitney is a warning that the mountain can surprise even the most experienced and well-prepared climbers. It's up to each of us and the hiking community to take steps to reduce these risks and ensure that tragedies like this don't happen again. The group attempted to descend, but were caught in the storm and were unable to make it to safety. Despite the efforts of rescue teams, all 6 members of the group perished on the mountain. 5 other climbers from the other 2 parties also lost their lives in separate incidents during the same storm. In the end, what happened on Mount Whitney is a stark warning of how dangerous it can be to climb at high altitudes. The fact that people died and the survivors got hurt was a sad warning that even the most experienced climbers can get hurt on the mountain. But if we each take care of our own safety and work as a group to improve safety measures and awareness, we can reduce these risks and make sure that tragedies don't happen again. So, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And remember, stay safe and never stop exploring.